This video will help you identify whether a given graph, table, or set of points represents a function. So let's start with the definition of a function. So to be a function, every x, or input, can only have one y value, or output. So let's begin with the first example. So if we take a look at example A, if we examine the x values, so that's the first number in an ordered pair, every x can only have one y value. So when x is 4, it only has one y. When x is 7, it only has one y. When x is -3, it only has one y. And when x is 5, it only has one y. So this would be yes, it is a function, because every x has only one y. It's okay that they share the same y. That does not matter. It's that every x has only one y. So in other words, when you input a 4, it's saying you get out a 1. It's not saying that you get out a 1 and a 2. You just get out a 1. Now if we take a look at this graph here, every x has one output. So if I go to x equals 2 right here, it has 1 point. If I go to x equals 3, it has 1 point. If I go to x equals 4, it has 1 point. So we would say yes, every input has one output. It meets our definition. We could also use the vertical line test. And the vertical line test says that if I draw an imaginary vertical line anywhere on the graph, it can only touch at most 1 point. So if I draw a vertical line anywhere on this graph, no matter where, it only touches once. So we could say yes, every x has only one y, or we could also use the vertical line test and say yes, because of the vertical line test, any vertical line touches the graph once. Okay, if we take a look at C, every x does not have only one output. When x is 5, it has a point at 4, 6, 8, and 1. So when x is 5, it has 4 different outputs. So it is not a function. If I were to draw a picture of this, and I would go to 1, 2, 3, 4, x is 5, it would have a point at 4, it would have a point at 6, and 8, and 1. So if I drew a picture of this and I used the vertical line test, a vertical line would touch it at 4 different points here. So it is not a function, so no. Okay, let's take a look at this one. This one is a function, because no matter where I draw a vertical line, it only will hit the graph at 1 point. Every x has one y. When I go to x equals -1, it only has 1 point. When I go to x equals -2, it only has 1 point. When I go over here on this x value, it only has 1 point. So yes, it is. Okay, if we look at this example here, this one would be no. Every x does not have only one output. When x is 3, it has 2 different outputs. When x is 3, it has an output of 5, and it has an output of 6. So the answer would be no, it is not a function, because every x does not have only one output. When x is 3, it has 2 different outputs. Okay, let's take a look at this example here. So if we examine the x values, I don't see an x value used more than once that has 2 different y values. So this one would be yes. And the reason why it's yes is every x has only one output. If we were to draw a sketch of this graph, we'd have a point at 0, 2, we'd have a point at 3, 2, we'd have a point at 5, 2, and we'd have a point somewhere out here at 11, 2. So in other words, if I were to draw a vertical line, it only hits 1 point. No matter where I draw a vertical line, it only hits at most 1 point. So it is yes. Every input has only one output. So those are the ones that we should have circled that are a function.